The neurophysiological effects of caffeine on sleep, the mechanism of adenosine antagonism. The effects of caffeine on the sleep-wake cycle are primarily explained by its interference with the synaptic function of an endogenous neuromodulator called adenosine. This process occurs as follows. 1. Adenosine accumulation and the formation of sleep pressure. Due to continuous neuronal activity throughout the day, the concentration of adenosine in the extracellular space of the brain, particularly in basal forebrain regions, increases cumulatively. By binding primarily to A1 and A2A type G protein-coupled receptors, adenosine inhibits neuronal firing rate and synaptic transmission, lowers the general arousal level of the cerebral cortex, creates homeostatic sleep pressure, the feeling of sleep need. This physiological process is a homeostatic feedback mechanism that regulates the organism's energy balance and neural plasticity. 2. The antagonistic effect of caffeine at the molecular level. Caffeine, 1,3,7-trimethylxanthine, due to its structural similarity to adenosine, acts as a competitive antagonist for these receptors. It binds to adenosine receptors with a higher affinity than endogenous adenosine. However, upon binding, instead of activating the receptor, it blocks the active site, thereby preventing adenosine from binding and consequently inhibiting synaptic signal transmission. 3. Synaptic and behavioral consequences of the effects. Following receptor blockade, although adenosine accumulation continues, the perception of sleep pressure is temporarily masked because the signal cannot be transmitted. As a result, subjective and objective improvements are observed in parameters such as alertness, attention, and cognitive performance. The blockade may also contribute to the indirect disinhibition of dopaminergic and other stimulatory neurotransmitter systems. 4. The transience of the effect and the caffeine crash. After the half-life of caffeine, average 3 to 6 hours, its concentration in plasma and the brain begins to decline. When the competitive blockade on the receptors is lifted, the accumulated adenosine molecules rapidly bind to the receptors. This situation leads to the sudden emergence of postponed sleep pressure and a cluster of symptoms often referred to as a crash, consisting of fatigue, drowsiness, and cognitive slowing.